Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Houston, we are ready for the event.
ABC News Radio, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is ABC News Radio. How do you hear us?
Good morning, Vic. We hear you loud and clear. How about us?
Super. Good morning, Mike. Good morning, Ron. Good to see you.
Well, it's good to hear you. We wish we could see you. But, hey, we're right now, we just entered into orbital sunrise, orbital daytime up here, right over the Great Lakes, about 230 miles up.
Able to create violence.
It's Vic Ratner. Let me ask you, without the space shuttle to deliver, how do you handle your shopping list for supplies and spare parts?
Well, one of the ways we did is to think ahead and make very, very good use of our last shuttle missions that we had to bring up just a tremendous amount of supplies to really get us postured for the next 10 years up here. But we also have other vehicles. This is the International Space Station, so we have vehicles from other nations. We have a Japanese cargo ship, we have a European cargo ship, and the Russian cargo ships that all have the capability to bring up supplies.
I'm still not sure what you do if you run out of sugar or coffee.
Yeah, Vic, it's a good question. When the shuttle departed, they left us with about a year's worth of food. That presents more of a stowage problem than a shortage problem, at least for the short term. If we drink up all of a certain flavor of coffee, we'll get used to other kinds. And we are putting together our list of things for next available space on ships that come up, if a certain piece of equipment breaks and things like that.
Mike, how do you compare what you're doing to scientists at other remote outposts such as the North Pole or the Amazon rainforest?
I'd love to go visit those places, but in many ways it's the same. We're in a remote location. We are not the experts in what we do. There's a wide range of different kinds of experiments that we're involved with, and we're not the experts. But we get involved with them, we talk to them, they see video of what we are doing, and so the results are going down to the ground, and we have them, literally looking over our shoulder so we're the voice-actuated robots, if you will, doing the work for them up here.
Can you give Americans an idea of what you're doing up there, what the scientists are doing up there that are going to change our everyday lives?
Yeah, Vic, hey, that's a really, really good question. We've had a continuous human presence on board the International Space Station for over a decade. And over the course of that time, we have conducted over 600 experiments on board. And many of those experiments simply cannot be conducted anywhere else. This is a very, very unique environment, this microgravity environment. And it simplifies a lot of the science that we're doing up here. And we've had a lot of work in designing experiments to look at new materials, new medicines, studying the human body, studying the effects of things like osteoporosis. We've had breakthroughs in vaccine development. Salmonella comes to mind. We're looking at ways to have better fuel efficiency, better combustion reactions, better hazardous waste removal. The list goes on and on and on. The objective of our science is to enable humans to go further into the solar system. But by doing that, we are also looking at ways to improve life on Earth. And like I said, this is a very, very unique place. The research being conducted up here simply can't be done anywhere else. And I think, the history is going to show that this is an incredible global asset, that the research being conducted on board the International Space Station really is improving the world. And if you give me about another 3 or 4 hours, I could tell you all the other breakthroughs and other science-related activities that we're conducting up here.
I promise to come back to you on that at another interview. For now, you're also learning about long-duration space flight, the kind of information you'd need to go to Mars. What are you finding out about what long-duration space flight, what harm it does to the human body?
Well, a big part of what we're doing up here is serving as the guinea pigs ourselves for bone loss, muscle loss, and trying different medications, different exercise regimens to maintain our health. Humans will go to Mars someday, and when they get there, it's a long trip to get there, and when they do arrive, they need to be healthy enough and strong enough that they can get to work without the benefit of doctors and other support personnel that are waiting for them. And so we serve as those guinea pigs, and we can do that in the 6-month time frame that we're up here, which is close to this 8-month type time frame it takes to get to Mars one way.
Which one of you is trained as the outer space medical tech if somebody got hurt?
Well, we're both trained, but we're fortunate in that we have an actual medical doctor on board, Satoshi Fukawa from the Japanese Space Agency. So, we have, I think, three plus a medical doctor, 3 crew medical officers on board in the case we need that type of help.
Let me ask you one other thing. Do you keep up with the news? I mean, do you know about the stock market cratering yesterday? Can you check your 401ks from up there?
We do get the news. A lot of it's a little bit delayed, and we heard a little bit about the rumblings from Wall Street yesterday, and like the rest of the country, the rest of the world, we're hoping that things will turn around now that we've kind of chosen a direction at the national level and are on a path there.
You do have internet up there, don't you, Mike?
We have internet, but it's very slow, and so it's about like the old dial-up used to be, and only available at certain times. And so we don't get off onto the internet often to check news and stuff. Frankly, it's a little too busy to do much of that.
So no iTunes, no streaming movies.
They ship the music up to us and ship movies up to us, but no, we don't tap iTunes or streaming movies from here. If we have a request, the ground takes care of it though. So we have a few of our favorite news programs and TV programs and things like that available. It's just when we watch the news, it's a few days old.
We're getting an idea from you about what life is like up there. Is there a time during the day when the whole crew gets together and everybody sits around one module and exchanges stories? What's it like?
Well, we try as often as we can to get together for dinner. We're not always able to do that. Sometimes things get too busy, but whenever we can, we do that, and that's always nice. And we tend to alternate. We have 2 areas on the station where we could have meals. One's in the U.S. segment, and one's in the Russian segment, and we tend to alternate back and forth between where we share those meals, and that's always a wonderful experience.
Last question on that line: do you exchange foods? What does the Japanese diet have that you like? What does the Russian diet have that you like?
We enjoy exchanging foods. Because Satoshi's up here with us, of course, we've got extra rice and other rice dishes, which are the Japanese as well as sauces and stuff, and we enjoy those. We enjoy the Russian foods also. Theirs come up, different. A lot more of their food is in cans, which we have very little of in the American diet, and I think everybody enjoys sharing some of the U.S. foods too. So that helps break up the diet. If you were just eating one source of food, I think it would get a little bit monotonous. But as it is, there's variety, and that helps kind of push us toward sharing the meal times together.
Thanks a lot. Good to talk to you. We're out of time. Safe journey.
Thanks, Vic. It was great talking to you.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the ABC News Radio portion of the event. Please stand by for a voice check from WOFL-TV.
City says if they don't approve it.
Station, this is WOFL. How do you hear me?
They'd see if the fee would be legal, and if they'd see if
we hear you loud and clear. How about us?
To balance the budget.
They have not made any cuts in personnel in 5 years. They've raised taxes at 5 years. The economy cannot take this pressure. Any number is too much. Any number is too much without putting it to vote by the affected residents, just as the city charter calls for.
approved. It would take effect in 2012.
All right, flash forward to later on this morning. NASA is set to launch the Juno spacecraft to explore Jupiter. That launch window is from 11:34 this morning until 12.
30 seconds away, crew, 30 seconds.
Just planet in the solar system, and it's a long way away. It's going to take the spacecraft 5 years to get there. NASA officials say understanding Jupiter is the key to understanding the cosmos. Also happening right now, 6 men at the International Space Station are working hard to keep the orbiting laboratory running smoothly. And we are lucky enough to speak with 2 flight engineers aboard the ISS right now. This is going to be fun. Hopefully there's not too much of a delay when we're talking, 220 miles up in space. Flight engineers Mike Fossum and Ron Garan are joining us now to talk. Guys, you know what? We can't see you quite yet, but can you explain, first of all, exactly what you're doing in space at this point?
Well, hey, John. Well, right now we are, like you said, traveling 220 miles up, and we're about over Philadelphia. We just a few minutes ago passed into orbital daytime, and we right now are in the era of utilization of the International Space Station. Construction is complete, and now we are in the process of really reaping the benefits of this investment that we have in this just amazing orbital research facility. So there is a great deal of science being conducted on board every day throughout the space station and the different laboratory modules that we have.
Now, I've read that the Russians are on one side, or some of the foreign scientists are on one side of the space station, and the Americans are on the other. Is that true? Is it divided like that, where each side is doing their own research?
Well, the modules, I mean, we have Russian modules and we have U.S. modules and Japanese and European. We have a lot of different modules, but we have one space station. And we operate as a single crew. And we have different investigators on the ground that have their experiments going on in different parts of the space station. It tends to be that the Russians are operating, Russian experiments, and the other crew members are operating the experiments from Europe or Japan or the U.S. So, just from a logistics point of view, we're not separated, but we have different facilities, but we have one space station and one crew.
And this is up for either one of you guys. A recent report by Tribune newspaper says if something were to happen to the Soyuz where it was not able to get back and forth between Earth and the ISS, there's not a formal contingency plan. How would you guys get back to Earth?
Our ride home is the Soyuz spacecraft. That's the only option that we have. We will ride home on the ships that brought us up here, and so that's not in question. If there was an interruption in Soyuz service for new launches, there is a remote possibility that the space station would go unmanned. There's an on-orbit lifetime limit to the Soyuz of about, I don't remember exactly, but it's about 220 days. So those ships, the ones we came up in, need to go home. So Ronnie will be going home in early September as planned, and I'll be going home in mid-November.
Now, Ron, you're somewhat of a local guy, right? You have some Florida connections and some family in this area. You may not get to talk to them that often. Do you want to say hi to any family members here in Central Florida?
Yeah, just say hi to my mom and stepdad in Port St. Lucie. And, all astronauts have ties to the Florida, area, with the Kennedy Space Center and everything. And, we have a very, very special place in our heart for that, amazing national asset, the Kennedy Space Center. But really, the national asset is more in the people at the Kennedy Space Center that, we just want to say shout out to the workforce there at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. So a very special place in our hearts.
Yeah, I know you're a Gator as well. You guys have a unique perspective, obviously, from where you're at. We've been tracking Tropical Storm Emily from the ground. Anything you guys see up there we might need to be concerned about here in Florida?
No, we haven't had a chance to catch a glimpse of Emily yet, but we hope to do that soon. And I'm sure with of course, with the national weather satellites and continuous observations, you get views from lots of different areas. And what an amazing thing and a capability that the space program has brought to us.
As as you guys also know, today we may be launching a rocket here from Central Florida heading to Jupiter. What are your thoughts on a mission to Jupiter? What exactly should we be looking for? So people like me who don't fully understand the ins and outs of space, what exactly do we want to discover?
Well, I mean, like anything that we're doing in the space program, we're trying to basically see what's beyond the next hill. We're trying to, increase the understanding of the universe that we have on our planet, and that meets a certain human nature that we have to be curious and to explore. But the more we understand about the universe and the more we understand about our own planet, the better off life is going to be on our planet, and the more we'll be able to make use of resources in space to help some of the challenges that we face on Earth. So it's just another step in this process of exploration that started at the dawn of time that continues today.
I'd like to hear a response from both of you guys to this, because I've heard some interesting responses from astronauts. How has it changed your perception of Earth when you're up above Earth for that long? How do you view the planet differently?
Well, that really is an interesting question, and it's hard to put into words, especially succinctly. But, you can't help but look at the Earth from space without being moved in some way. And my experience led me to form a website called Fragile Oasis at fragileoasis.org, where we're trying as best we can to share what we call this orbital perspective, this view that, we are all in this together. We are all riding on this spaceship we call Earth through the universe together. And obviously, you've heard it said over and over again, you can't see any borders from space. Of course you can't. But from space, everything looks exactly like it should be. Everything looks peaceful, everything looks beautiful, but we see also quite clearly how fragile everything is, and how precarious our situation is, and how much we need to take care of this amazing gift that we've been given. And so I think that's the main thing that we get at. And there's only 6 of us up here right now, and we wish everybody could see this, because if you could see this, I think we'd have a lot less problems on the Earth. Since everybody can't do that, then the best we can do is try and explain and share it as best we can with as many people as we can, because I think it's a really, really important perspective for everybody to have, and that's the perspective that we are all in this together. And I'll hand over to Mike.
For me, the first look out of the window on my first space flight, I was struck by the stark and just sheer beauty of our planet from above. It occurred to me immediately that I was kind of looking at it from God's point of view, up above the planet looking down. As I watched, over the days and now months on orbit, you're struck. Another thing that strikes you fairly quickly is when you're looking at the Earth and trying to figure out where you are. It's difficult because you don't have all those colored lines that we draw on maps, and those lines, of course, were drawn by man. And kind of similar to what Ronnie said, the Earth is really one place, and we're all crew. Just like we're an international crew on the International Space Station, and we have to work out our differences and figure out how to work together, cooperate together for everybody's benefit. We're all passengers, we're all crew, really, on Spaceship Earth, and we need to think of it, I think, a little more on not ignoring, but making less of a barrier to those borders. And I don't mean opening the borders, but I mean thinking of the planet as our home, and figuring out how to cooperate and more for the benefit of everybody involved, because we're all in this together.
All right, Mike, Fossum, Ron, Garan, flight engineers, thanks so much, guys. Do appreciate it. And there'll be a big delay, so we'll just cut over on this next.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ABC News Radio and WOFL-TV. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communications. And great job, guys. Those were some very inspiring words.